You're watching Keys and Gray on Bein Sports. This is not here so that we could show you that Darren Gough, the former England cricketer, has had a hair transplant.
It's good.
Because we could do that by pointing him out.
Ah, yes, that's true.
He's had the very same, of course, hasn't he?
Any chance for me?
None, I'm afraid, no. Absolutely none. He also would appear to be leaving his post as the Chelsea manager. When? That's the question. What a strange football club. Here's somebody that knows them better than most. Former England and Chelsea captain who's been assistant to Gianluca Vialli, Phil Scolari, Carlo Ancelotti, title winner with Ancelotti, of course. Ray Wilkins joins us. Ray, good to see you.
Hi, Ray.
Good morning, guys. How are we?
We're very good. Razor, whatever you're using, could you just turn it...
I'm a little bit worried, Richard. You're working during the day. This doesn't normally happen.
No, it doesn't.
Ray, just whatever implement you're talking to us on, turn it a little...
To your right.
To your right.
Yeah, that's better.
Now we can see all of you.
Now we can
Why
see
on
your
earth do you want to see
face.
my face? You're better off hearing my voice than seeing my face.
No, I love the
This
look
is
of
a
you,
very
Razor.
good face for radio.
You make all the points I was going to. You've saved me time. Ray, what is going on at your football club?
I've no idea, Richard. It's very, very similar to when Jose Mourinho was in charge. They're actually playing in exactly the same fashion. And it's almost as if, and I hate to say it, that they're looking to get him out. I think Antonio's done a great job. I really do. He's got great passion for the game. He's moulded a squad together that is more than capable of handling the Premier League. But unfortunately, the players aren't performing.
Do you get the impression, Ray, that I'm with you? I can see so many similarities between now and when Jose got outed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, do you think that concerns Abramovich? Or is he of the feeling that, well, that was Conte's time. If the players don't like him, I'll do what I did with Jose. I'll get someone else in.
Well, it's looking that way, Andy, because that's what he does. He's changed so many managers over the last 10, 12 years, but he's always been successful. It's not been a case of whereby he's changed a manager and he's gone down the Swanee. It hasn't done that. He's changed a manager and gone on and won. So he'll be looking at it thinking, well, I might have to take the same path. But I've got to say, Andy, when I saw those players against Bournemouth, when I saw them against Watford concede 7 goals in the fashion that they did, absolutely shocking.
I agree with you. What about the players? Is it not time for these kind of guys that are multimillionaires, that are getting paid hundreds of thousands of pounds, not to play for the manager, but to actually play for the club and the supporters who are there every week with them?
But Andy, also as a professional football, play for yourself.
Yeah.
Have a bit of self-pride. I want to be the best player. When I used to put my boots on, I wanted to be, first and foremost, the best player on the pitch. Secondly, I wanted to win for my mates. I don't see this for these guys now, Andy. I really don't. I really don't see it.
Have they down tools, Ray?
Richard, down tools is not here, to be perfectly honest. I wouldn't like to think so. I'd like to think these young men have got a little bit in them. What I do think has happened is that the buying and selling in August was totally out of order. It wasn't in the right direction. To actually bring in Bakayoko and sell Matic for the same money was, for me, absolutely ridiculous. I couldn't see that at all. Now, what happened with Costa is a different matter. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of the Costa situation, but to actually tell someone by text that he's not actually wanted in the modern day world, why not sit across a lunch table, have some lunch, and say, this isn't quite working out, we might need to find somebody else. Since losing Costa, the squad is diminished.
Yeah. I'm glad we got you back, Ray. You had a little panic up there, I suspect, because you got a telephone call, did you?
No, I didn't actually, Richard, no.
Oh, good. Okay.
You dropped out for a minute, fella.
I'm glad you're back. Ray, we talk about this, Abramovich, when he came on the scene, blew everybody away, had more money than anyone else. Now, football's changed. There's 3 or 4 clubs in the Premier League got more than him. So whereas he could go and get the best players and the best coach and continue to win, has that formula changed? Does he need to be aware of it, if it has? And how does it damage Chelsea going forward if they keep changing coaches now?
Richard, what I would say is that with Abramovich, they've won the FA Youth Cup 6 out of the last 7 years, Chelsea. And they have the best player at Crystal Palace in Loftus-Cheek. They have the best player at Watford in Chalobah. They have probably one of the best strikers in Swansea in Abraham. What actually happens is when they bring these players in from foreign shores, they turf out the very, very good young players that we have in this country. Give our young men an opportunity first, and then bring in the foreign player if it doesn't work. Because, you know, they spent £34 million on Batshuayi. Now, I know he went to Germany last week and scored a hat-trick in his first game, but he's no way near a Premier League footballer. Nowhere near. Abraham is in Swansea and scoring goals for fun. Solanke went to Liverpool for nothing. Give these young men an opportunity to perform.
So who is it making the decisions? Do we know?
I've no idea, buddy.
Must be coach. Surely it must be the coach, Ray. I mean, if he's got all these players, they're all his players, Conte's. Surely if he thinks that these young kids are good enough, he would keep them?
I don't think he knew these players when he came in, Andy, to be perfectly honest. And what happened, they were shipped out before he actually saw them.
Yeah.
So is that, sorry to interrupt again, Ray. Is that the price then for keep changing the coach? You're right. I think it's 14 coaches in 14 years and 10 trophies, something like that. But if they find a little bit of stability, will they find a formula that allows the youth to surface?
They have to allow the youth to surface, Richard, because these young men can play. But unless they're given an opportunity to play, you know, a lot of people keep saying to me about Salah at Liverpool. You know, Salah was at Chelsea when they played Basel a few years ago. Salah scored against Chelsea. Bought him. They put him out to Roma because he played week in, week out. Then Liverpool buy him, and he looks magnificent. Unless you give these young men an opportunity, and we all need opportunities in life. You know, when I think many years ago, you get your backside down to London, get yourself some sunshine, and that's where it's at. And you have to be given an opportunity.
So if you had a call from Mr. Abramovich today, Ray, asking for what you thought, how we should go forward, would your advice be? Yeah, we need a new coach, or no, we need a bit more stability, we need to leave Conte in situ?
That would be my angle, Andy. Just leave him in situ, let him get on with his job. No one interferes with it. Let him buy, let him sell. And I think that's the only way to be.
Ray, great to catch up. Thank you.
Thanks, Fraser.
He's gone that quickly. Didn't even get a chance to reply.
I think it froze again.
It is. Let me return to my statistic. I think, and yeah, there we are. There we are. 15 seasons, 11 managerial changes. Now, here's what they'll say is the evidence that so far they've been right, and those that call for stability are wrong. But maybe things are changing a little bit.
Well, maybe they are. Yes, I get exactly where you're coming from. For the vast majority of those 15 seasons, certainly for 10 or 11 of them, they were the bosses. They had the most money. They could pay the most. They're also based in London, which, as you know, and you keep saying, is a huge draw for foreign players to come in. So for 10 of 11 of those 15 years, he was the boss. Now we have Manchester City, we have Manchester United, you know, that are certainly in the ballpark to blow them out the water as two. Certainly two of them. Arsenal, could they? Probably not. If they wanted to, they could.
Beyond England, because Paris Saint-Germain are able to do it as well.
Of course they are.
Whereas when Chelsea were kings,
they were kings.
They were kings of the world.
There was no money in Italy. Now it looks like there is going to be money in Italy again, so they're going to be back in the ballpark as well. Bayern Munich, you talked about, the Spanish giants are always looking at the best players and looking to buy them, and they're always an attraction. So it maybe has got to change for them. I get what Ray was saying about the kids. Unless you're at a club a couple of years, at least a couple of years, to watch these kids, you don't get the feel for them. You notice that Pep at Manchester City, he's only been in there, less than 2 years, but he's already got a feel, because he watches them and he goes to see them, about how the young kids are. That's why we see so many of City's young kids getting an opportunity as well. And I like to see that, whereas you very rarely see it with Chelsea. Mourinho didn't give them a chance. I don't think Ancelotti did. No one has.
No.
Because, as Ray says, makes a very valid point, they don't know them.
Well, the chief football writer at the Daily Mirror, John Cross, joins us and was saying last August that he didn't expect Conte to be there beyond the end of this season. I keep asking you, John, every week. It's become the new Arsene Wenger.
New Arsenal
gate, hasn't it? How long does he survive?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you could view Monday night against West Brom as a bit of a, as a given, really, for Chelsea. Surely they've got to win that. But conversely, it could also be the hospital path, because if they don't win, then it's really serious, isn't it? I was at Watford on Monday night, and it wasn't so much, I don't think, the result or the actual performance, as much as, and they were both bad enough, by the way, but it was what he said afterwards and in his tone. People have assured me that he's done that on a couple of occasions before, but this was, I thought, a man sort of challenging the board to sack him. Because from what I'm told, he will absolutely not resign, but he's almost like saying, go on then, if you fancy it, go and sack me. And that's what I think he's waiting to do. It's like, on the touchline, he's so revealing on the touchline. Last season's histrionics, I think, replaced with kind of him just standing there looking a little bit cold, not getting wound up, not getting aerated, not trying to urge the players on. And it's just so different. This is a guy, I think, he's resigned to his fate. And it's remarkable, really, when you consider that they are still in the top four, they're still in the FA Cup, still in the Champions League. But the barometer for any Chelsea manager, and I think this is the key, is that while they are in the top four or very close to it, so within easy grasp, the manager is safe. As soon as that becomes perilous, then the club will act. And I think Conte has already mentioned that the fact that basically Chelsea's place in the top six is top four rather is vulnerable. As soon as that changes, I think they will act.
As you well know, John, I'm an avid reader of the UK press. The headline that I thought was the most inaccurate this week, you'll understand what I'm going to say, I think, was that Chelsea's players will have no say in whether Conte stays or go. Yes, they will.
Yes, they will.
They'll have the ultimate say, won't they?
They've got 100% say.
Because if they decide he's out, he's gone, isn't he?
Yeah, the thing is, you could read this two ways. And the point I tried to make in my match report was that basically he was looking for a message from the board, a message of support, and what he actually got was a message from the players.
Yeah.
And I think that's the point, isn't it? On Monday night, I felt I saw an abject performance, a performance from a team that's tired and fatigued, yes, but also didn't do enough for the manager. And basically, that's subjective. That's not saying he's lost the dressing room. It's just what I saw with my own eyes. And I felt that basically there was a few really bad performances out there. I mean, Luis was poor. Bakayoko got a 0 and got sent off in my ratings. I mean, it's absolutely shocking, I felt. Hazard, you didn't see him until the goal. I mean, you just didn't see him. And look, the word is that the players have sort of said to him, look, your working is too hard. And basically, it was always his intention to give them Tuesday off. He's responded by actually giving them 3 days off. So their first day back in today. And the training levels have been a big thing. And the players have been sort of unhappy with that. They do feel tired. They feel jaded. And it shows in their performances. But we'll now see, I think, in the next few days, whether that's got a reaction and whether that's got them back on side. But ultimately, I don't care whether it's Chelsea and Abramovich and the player power, player revolt. Players will always get you sacked. And if players don't, then the fans will, because they will turn on the manager. And that's often the case for any board. And at the moment, the fans are still with the manager. They still chant his name. But Conte should be worried about those players, no more.
As we speak, John, I think there are developments. Riyad Mahrez might indeed be going training with